Coming up today on the Leipzig Loko, we play our last game of our second season in the Bundesliga. We need one more result to go our way as long as a win to make our way into European football in that competition. But before then, yet again, we're playing the second leg of the Conference League tie, locked up at 2-2. Hopefully, we can again get past the team at home and make our way through to a Conference League final. Hello everyone and welcome to episode 84 of the Leipzig Loko with Lokomotive Leipzig here on Sean Does FM. I hope you are doing well, and coming up today we play the second leg of our Conference League semi-final locked up at 2-2 with Grasshopper Zurich, and off the back of that we play our last game in the Bundesliga taking on Mainz. If we win that, and if Eintracht Frankfurt lose to Cologne, we will get up into a Conference League qualifying spot for next season. So if you're looking forward to those two games coming up in today's episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also consider hitting that subscribe button and turning that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated. But off the back of yesterday's episode, that first leg against Grasshopper Zurich, as well as a DFB Pokal semi-final where we did take on Cologne. If you missed that one, I'll leave a link to it over in the top right corner. Just one game in the Bundesliga where we did take on 4th place Freiburg. A win here would have been very useful late in the season. And it was a real topsy-turvy game, this one, but unfortunately we went down early there. Spendy gets us here on the end of that one. Someone on our defensive line there, right on the line of the goal, did get a good boot on that one, but unfortunately still made its way over the line. Thankfully, only a few minutes later, Ibrahim Diallo up from our second team, he put that one away. Obviously, with that situation in the Conference League semi, did want to rest our European players for this game. Unfortunately, about 20 minutes off the back of that equaliser though, Spendy yet again with a goal for his header, but thankfully, about 10 minutes before half-time, we did equalise. Nice ball there from Ryan, and this time it is Tunde Musa who puts the ball into the back of the net. So some good work there from some of our youngsters at the club. It was 2-2 for a fair while, but unfortunately, 10 minutes into the second half, and Spendy completes a hat-trick, and in the end, we did suffer a 3-2 defeat, so that one was a little bit frustrating. As you can see, a pretty even game, but unfortunately they did have a slightly higher XG, did Freiburg, and picked up a win away from home against 4th place in the league. That's not too terrible, but it does now mean we've lost our last 2 games in the league, and because of that, going into our last game of the season, that second one, in today's episode, we are going to need a little bit of help on that day if we are to make our way into that Conference League qualifying spot and not have to rely on some results and finals in tomorrow's episode, hopefully, to make our way into Europe. For next season, we take on Mainz, so we can jump above those guys with a win in that game. Is at home. The only other team that we can go above is Eintracht Frankfurt. They are at home and they take on the team we bet in that DFB Pokal semi-final yesterday in FC Cologne. If those two things do happen in that second game today, we will make our way into the Conference League yet again for next season. But of course, as I said, we do already have a DFB Pokal final to look forward to, albeit it is against Bayern Munich, so that one might be tough, but hopefully we can make our way into a Conference League final in this next game that we are going to play as we take on Grasshopper Zurich. Yesterday we took these guys on. It was a 2-2 draw, having to come back from behind twice, so it was a little bit different to our games that we have played so far in the knockouts of Europe. Usually taking a 2-0 lead and bottling it late. This time had to actually show a little bit of fight on the other side of the draw. It does look like Roma should be going through 3-0 up, albeit they are away from home in that second leg. But unfortunately, we've got a few more injuries off the back of yesterday's episode. We picked up quite a few going into that episode and during the course of it anyway. Thankfully, Paulo Cesar is back, so we have 2 left backs now available for today's episode, but still out. We've got Benjamin Bushwari, obviously, with that broken lower leg. Also, a new one, Carlos Pimentel, is out with a pulled hamstring. Won't feature in either game in today's episode. Of course, wasn't registered for the Conference League anyway, but it does mean that he won't be available for that Mainz game. It's been quite useful being able to call him up while Amadori has been injured, and of course using Matty White in the Conference League. As well as that, some players who are recovering but not quite back. They might be back though for that Mainz game, because surprisingly, there's a week and a half in between the games. In today's episode, Balio Alte twisted ankle out for 5 to 10 days. As well as that, we've got Amadori 4 to 8 days away from recovering from a calf strain. So hopefully he can play in that Mainz game and get fit potentially for a DFB Pokal final and hopefully a Conference League final as well, seeing as he is registered for that competition. As well as that, we've got Daniel Cueto out now with a twisted ankle for 3 to 7 days. So again, he won't feature in the second leg of the Conference League semi-finals. That obviously means a bit of change to our team going in to the second leg to what we'd ideally be putting out, but hopefully at home so far undefeated in the Conference League this season, we can pick up a result yet again and make our way through to that final against what does look like to be Roma based on that scoreline. In the other semi-final, in terms of our team going to this game, Tom Gale comes in for Hurtado because he is quite injury prone and tired at the moment off the back of those recent games that we have been playing. But apart from that, it's first choice considering the players who are out with injuries. Just going to adjust some opposition instructions here and get us through to the second leg of the Conference League semi-finals locked up at 2-2 yet again. It has been the case in both of the previous knockout rounds that we have played against Luzern, of course a team who are higher in the Swiss League than this Grasshopper Zurich outfit are, and of course also a couple of episodes ago when we did get past RZ in the quarterfinals. So we'll get through this pre-match interview, and there we go. There are the team sheets and also the wonderful Europa League / Conference League anthem that I do need to talk over. Otherwise, might get that copyright claim, but there's our team. As I said, just that one change. Gale coming in for Hurtado. Grasshopper Zurich are going with the exact same formation as we are, and hopefully this time we can get on the front foot and put them on the back foot like they kind of did to us in that first leg in yesterday's episode. That was probably our worst performance so far of the knockouts. It was quite a to and fro game, thankfully just did enough to come back home, locked up at 2-2 yet again. Hopefully this time we can get on the front foot nice and early like we have done so far in the other second legs we've played and put these guys away, and hopefully also rest some players going in to that last Bundesliga game, albeit, as I said, actually a decent break before we do get into that one, taking a little while here for the first highlight of this game. But it is a throw-in to Grasshopper Zurich, and they do keep the ball down that far side, eventually play it into the middle and start to make their way forward here. Ogninyak, who was quite threatening in yesterday's episode, I think he actually scored a goal with a free kick that initially did get blocked by the wall but still put it away off of the rebound. But so far Grasshopper Zurich are holding the ball quite nicely. The Swiss outfit, now they're on the left-hand side, trying to get past one of our wingers here, but so far doing a pretty decent job defensively, albeit, as I say that, they start to find some space, ball in behind there, pick out Ogninyak, and that is a very good save there from Ivazic in goal to keep it at 0-0. Thankfully, an encouragement off the back of that does stop the corner from taking place, but the first big chance in this game does fall to Grasshopper Zurich, and it is still 0-0, but that is a bit of an early warning sign. Grasshopper Zurich, yet again, might be on the front foot before we get a chance in this game, a half hour in, and still no highlights in our favour as we make our way inside the last 10 minutes of this first half. And so far, it's fair to say this has been a pretty disappointing performance at home from us as we're inside the last couple of minutes of this first half. They did pick up a late yellow card, but that is it. We did absolutely nothing in that first half. Big chance to Grasshopper Zurich. Thankfully, Ivazic did come up with a save, which is why he will be on a green rating. Gale's only going okay, so we're going to risk Hurtado there, even though he is quite injury prone. He can come on. Also, Angelo on a 6.3, but to be fair, with Bushuaria injured and the backup in that left wing position being a youngster, don't think we want to make any subs in that area just yet. We'll just save that in case of emergency. The same applies for Maddie White up front today. One of our youngsters who did come through a youth intake a couple of seasons ago is on the bench if we do need him. Now an early highlight here in the second half, and thankfully we win that ball off the back of that clearance from the Grasshopper Zurich goalkeeper. Escobar plays that one forward to Blome. Now Musties up there for Vochin, makes his way inside the box. Big chance there for Maddie White, and he was onside because it's a goal kick, but unfortunately this time he misses the target. So far the Americans been great for us in the Conference League, but today only on a 6.4, which is a little bit concerning. And also Angelo on a 6.3 as well. Those ratings do now switch, but at some point we might need to make some tough decisions if it is looking like this game might be getting close to heading to extra time, because that would not be ideal, albeit, as I said, nice big gap off the back of this game. But so far, very, very average performance. We'll just check here on some player fitness. We've got Vochin down to a red heart, so Luke Campanelli can come on him, and also Blomé will bring on Racine Bullock in his place. We've still got time to make more subs if we need to, so hopefully Angelo and White can get their act into gear with around about 15 minutes left. Otherwise, they might be coming off, but the options are not very good ones, and starting to get now towards the last 10 minutes. We're on the front foot now, definitely based on stats, but unfortunately not seeing a lot in the match engine. And I think we're going to have to make some subs here. Escobar's down to a red heart, so he might come off. Also Zirkzee actually on a 6.5, albeit a much better backup in that deep line playmaker role with Benedetti. So I think he'll come on with one of those final two subs. And also, of the players out there, Matty White is the one on the worst rating. So I think we'll bring on our youngster in TONDA. He's been lurking in the under-19s for the past season or so. Hopefully he might pop up with a goal. What a moment that would be for a player who's come through the youth intake if he was able to score a goal, which sent us through to a European final. We've gone attacking, but nothing happening so far in this game. It does look like we might be headed for extra time, 3 minutes of added time, which we're now getting deep into, albeit there is a goal kick here in favour of Grasshopper Zurich. There was someone there lurking in behind our defence, but thankfully we do still win that ball back. Unhello so far struggling, but is on the ball, and yet again there Ryan plays it forward to him. Zirkzee also only going okay, but starts to make his way inside the final third. Tries to play a ball there over the top for our striker, but unfortunately Josep is in the way, and Grasshopper Zurich might get a chance. This would be very disappointing if we can't make the most of what has been a pretty kind draw, albeit Zirkzee plays one forward there for TONDA. He gets on the end of it and puts it away. Our youngster off the bench, just like I said, might have got a goal to send us through to a European final. Off the back of that, we'll just put our players on some more defensive duties and actually also pull back those wingers, and we'll have it so that we're going to be playing with two wing backs down our sides, no wingers for the last couple of minutes of this game. We'll have the wing backs on defend, and we'll also chuck those other guys as inverted wing backs, because that will be useful just to hopefully make sure that they don't get any chances here to Grasshopper Zurich. But that is a big goal from a player who has come through a youth academy here at Lokomotive Leipzig. Still not a very good youth academy, but that goal from TONDA could give us a chance now at securing a European title before RB Leipzig doing this save. They are yet to pick up a European title. We might get a chance now in tomorrow's episode. It's just a nice ball there from Zirkzee. The goalkeeper comes out, can't quite get to it, and TONDA puts it home in his first team debut, and that goal might be the one. It is the one that sends us through to the Conference League final. That was definitely a lot closer than we would have liked, but eventually we worked our way into that game, improved as it went on, and thankfully just before that was going to go to extra time. It was a bold call taking off Matty White, especially with the drop off to TONDA in terms of quality, but thankfully he's come up with a goal. TONDA might be a bit of a folk hero off the back of that if we can pick up a win in the Conference League final in tomorrow's episode. And that Conference League final is not going to be against Roma, because they have bottled it away from home. They have lost 5-1 to Athletic Club, and that's of course a team that we did beat in the league phase of this competition. So everything might be coming up Millhouse here at Lokomotive Leipzig, at least in terms of the Conference League. TONDA with a late goal, and somehow Roma are not in the final. It's going to be Athletic Bilbao, as I said, a team that we did beat in the league phase, but it does mean that tomorrow we've now got two finals to look forward to alongside that DFB Pokal one against Bayern Munich. We are through to the final of the Conference League off the back of a late goal to TONDA to beat Grasshopper Zurich. So what a moment for young TONDA in that first game of today's episode. As you can see, now he's actually dropped down to the under-19s. There's his attributes, as you can see. Nothing that great, but that's a massive goal for him. It sends us through to a Conference League final. As I said, might be a bit of a cult hero of this save now off the back of that goal, our homegrown 18-year-old. But obviously, he's in our under-19s because a couple of players have recovered going into this final day of the Bundesliga season. Still out Bushuari and Pimentel, but thankfully, Daniel Cueto, Nicolo Amadori, and Ortega all back. So it does strengthen up our team quite considerably going into this must-win game, where we do take on Mainz, as I said as well. We are going to need Eintracht Frankfurt to be beaten by FC Cologne. That's the only scenario where we can go above those guys. That goal differential, I suspect, is going to be far too much for us to try and make up on this final day of the season. So we need to win, and Eintracht Frankfurt need to lose, and that would just make sure going into tomorrow's episode we have a little bit of a safety net going into those finals. Otherwise, we need to win one of those to get European football for next season. But obviously, as I said, a much stronger squad available for us for the second game of today's episode, and hopefully we can end our slight losing streak in the Bundesliga. Also worth noting at the bottom end of the table, Hanover probably going down automatically, Stuttgart and Bayer Leverkusen in a fight to see which team might end up in a relegation playoff, but that has nothing to do with us. We are focusing on the race for European football as we take on Mainz, and as I said, really want a favour from FC Cologne as they take on our former senior affiliate in Eintracht Frankfurt. Our team for this game, in terms of the starting lineup, is actually near identical to that first game of today's episode, but Hurtado starts, and also we've put Amadori up front. According to our staff, he can last a little bit longer than those other players coming back from injury, and obviously Matty White's had a lot of football lately in the Conference League, so hopefully a good chance here for us to give him a rest. Amadori usually does tend to be a little bit more efficient in the Bundesliga anyway compared to the American, but apart from that, it's pretty much the same team that we put out for that second leg in the Conference League, but obviously a much stronger bench for this one with some players coming back in who are not registered, and also those ones coming back from injury, in particular the likes of Cueto as well as Alte. There are Mainz. They are going with a narrow 4-3-3, and hopefully we can do the job here in this game, and as I said, just get a little bit of help from FC Cologne. Not that they probably want to off the back of us beating them yesterday in that DFB Pokal semi-final, but if we can get off to a nice hot start in this game, and there is an early throw in here in our favour, it might put some pressure on Eintracht Frankfurt. We try and play a ball over the top there for Angelo. Unfortunately, it does get cut out, and Cologne do win it up the field, but good work there from Hurtado to get that ball back for us. His Colombian teammate in Escobar is then on the ball. It goes out to Ryan, still out there at left back at the moment. He's a bit fitter, and in terms of average rating of late, actually has been a bit better than Paulo Cesar. Good chance there for Cologne to deal with that danger, but we did nearly get that ball back there from Angelo, but in the end they do get it back again, try and clear it, but good work there from Ryan, and we are back in possession. But fortunately, Aaron Escobar on the ball switches that one out to Vochin. Now Mastis makes his way onto the edge of the box, plays that one back to Cal Vochin. What can he do? Squares that one. It's a shot from Xerxes, falls to Nicolo Amadori, back in the team, back from injury, and picks up his 25th goal of the season. It's a pretty fortunate goal. We've actually scored a couple like that in the Conference League of late, but we'll take it. As you can see, for now it puts us above Mainz, but Eintracht Frankfurt are not losing, which is not ideal, but that's a good start. Only 2 minutes in, and we do go 1-0 up thanks to a goal from the big, beautiful Italian in Nicolo Amadori. I presume he is anyway. Doesn't have a picture in the face pack. We'll just presume he is wonderful, and he puts us 1-0 up nice and early, and hopefully we can kick on, grab a cushion goal, and then just see what does happen in that game between Eintracht Frankfurt and FC Cologne. With that in mind, I should click on the around the grounds, but as I was about to do that, there is a highlight here. It is a goal kick to Mainz, and they start to make their way into our half, albeit they were going to do that Xerxes with a footing, but thankfully he does stop that. They do try and get on the attack yet again, but good work there from Angelo to get that ball back for us. Now Ivizic will pump this one deep. Amadori is of course quite a strong striker. Did get in behind Angelo, nearly links up with him, but Mainz there clear that one, but it is only out to Vochin, so we are still on the attack here so far. This has been a good performance. Big chance there for Jordan Xerxes, but puts it over the bar, and we are still up only by 1-0, and still 0-0 in the Eintracht Frankfurt game. So we are 8th, but need to be in 7th if we want Conference League football guaranteed for next season. Chance there from a corner to Billy Camillo, but unfortunately it does go over the bar. Still 1-0, and still Eintracht Frankfurt are not losing, and Gomez there with what looked a pretty poor tackle, and we might get a massive helping hand here from Mainz. Sergio Gomez gets a red card, and now we can hopefully go on and put a bit of a beating on these guys and make sure that we pick up the 3 points needed, and then keep a bigger eye out on that Eintracht Frankfurt game. Good work there from Angelo to block that cross, as it did look like there that Mainz might be getting on the attack, albeit as that's happening, Eintracht Frankfurt have gone 1-0 up. Now Mastis gets inside the box, we'll put that one away. There's that cushion goal that we were looking for, but unfortunately just been dampened the excitement there by the fact I did see that scoreline pop up, and Eintracht Frankfurt are up by 1-0, but good work here on the counter-attack, obviously helped out playing against only 10 men. Nice ball that from Blomayer, and Mastis just cuts inside a little bit, nearly trips over Amadori there. A little bit surprised they didn't check that one for offside. We're 2-0 up, but unfortunately Eintracht Frankfurt with that 1-0 lead does mean at the moment we're not going to be making our way into Europe through our performance in the Bundesliga. It does actually mean that RB Leipzig might be in a precarious position going in to tomorrow's episode, because of course if we do win the DFB Pokal final, I think that would take a spot away from the team that does finish 7th. If it's not us, that could be quite funny if we do deny RB Leipzig some European football for next season, albeit if we win both finals. Not exactly sure what would happen. There might be a case of us taking it away from them and then giving it straight back, which would be a little bit of a downside to a European trophy, albeit as I said, they haven't won a European trophy so far in this save, so it could be a chance for us to actually make ourselves almost the bigger team in Leipzig. Not too sure if that would do the job. There's a chance for Mainz. It was actually a good shot, but it comes off the post. They go close. Thankfully, still up by 2-0 as Sika for some reason is being highlighted there in the background, warming up as Vochin did take that throw, and hopefully a chance for us here to potentially make it 3-0 before halftime, try and play a ball over the top for Zirkzee. Nearly gets to him, but unfortunately good work there from the Mainz defence, and they can just hold things up. They pump this one deep, and Hurtado will control it, plays that one back to Ivizic so far, taking some nice smart options as we do get deep into injury time in this first half. But so far this game going how we wanted it to. That red card obviously quite helpful. Angelo gets tackled there. I think it's outside the box. We're going to have to wait here for a VAR check. I suspect this will just be a free kick. But obviously the downside so far, Eintracht Frankfurt are beating Cologne, but thankfully it is only by 1-0 as far as I can tell. No more updates. We do have a free kick. We'll see if it gets shown. It's going to go far post here, and Blome gets his head on the end of that one, but decent save there from Ramirez. It was a pretty busy first half, and as you can see, obviously helped by that red card, well and truly on the front foot, and thankfully goals to Amadori and Mastis do mean we have a 2-goal lead. With that in mind, I don't think we need to make any subs here at halftime. All these players are doing a good job. So I think for the moment, we'll just leave everyone out there. If it's looking quite comfortable, maybe we'll bring on some of those players coming back from injury to get some game time into them. But we really are keeping an eye out on that Eintracht Frankfurt game. And unfortunately, very early in the second half, they do take a 2-0 lead. RB Leipzig 3-0 behind against Bayern. So it does look like at the moment, RB Leipzig might be the team we could put in jeopardy with an upset win over Bayern Munich in tomorrow's episode. We're going to take off some players here with a half hour left that we really do need for the Conference League, and bring on some other ones who are not necessarily registered for that competition. So we're going to switch out an entire front four here. Krasnicki and Musa can get some game time. Also, Cueto and White will just make sure Amadori doesn't get too injured. Was only recommended for 75 minutes. And also Manuel, he can come on for Blome, another player not registered for the Conference Leagues. Hopefully that just makes sure we won't get any injuries in some key positions, which could hurt our chances in that first European final of the save. And eventually we get the first highlight here of the second half. Yet again, a near post corner. Billy Camillo does get on the end of it, but unfortunately, yet again, it is just off target. We are absolutely bettering Mainz here, but unfortunately, not going to quite be enough, it looks like, for us to sneak into that 7th spot, because Eintracht Frankfurt are 2-0 up over Cologne. We may as well try here and just go for the jugular and put some goals on these guys while they are down to 10 men. So we'll put some more players onto some more positive roles, but it does look like this game might have played all its highlights. We're into the last 5 minutes and not much has been happening. Still 2-0 to Eintracht Frankfurt. Unfortunately, it's just going to be a point, which does see us miss out on European football through the league. So it didn't quite work out how I was hoping. Those losses to Freiburg and Dortmund did prove a little bit costly, albeit they were teams above us on the table. But that's a good performance to finish off the Bundesliga season. A pretty comfortable 2-0 win over Mainz, as I said, obviously helped out by the fact that they were down to 10 men for most of the game. But even before then, we did take a 1-0 lead. And now we'll just make sure that Eintracht Frankfurt did not get pegged back late. And unfortunately, that is what happened. They picked up a 2-0 win. So unfortunately, just 1 point away from European football, especially because we actually would have had the goal differential on RB Leipzig. So if only we managed to hold on for a draw in that Freiburg game. But unfortunately, it does mean we now need to win a final in tomorrow's episode. And that would mean we get Europa League group-based football for next season. But for now, we're not in Europe next season as we finish just 1 point behind RB Leipzig on the Bundesliga table. So a good win in that second game of today's episode, 2-0 over Mainz, as I said, obviously helped up by the fact that they were down to 10 men for most of that game. No European football though through our finish. In the Bundesliga, just 1 point behind RB Leipzig. At the moment though, that's not guaranteed because as I said, we could sneak a European spot off them if we do beat Bayern Munich in that DFB Pokal final, which will be first up in tomorrow's episode. And also we do get a second chance in that Conference League final against the team that we have already beaten in Athletic Bilbao. Just a quick update too on the finances, £52 million for getting 8th place. It would have only gone up by 2 million more if we did finish in 7th. But hopefully, we still get some European money in the Conference League final tomorrow. And as I said, also hopefully by a win in one of those finals would see us get through to the Europa League for next season. But that will do it for today's episode. Unfortunately, an 8th place finish in the Bundesliga, but we just did enough for a late goal to young TONDA to make our way through to a Conference League final. If you enjoyed today's episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also consider hitting that subscribe button and turning that notification bell on as well. We'll come back tomorrow, and obviously, finally, we're going to finish the second season up in the Bundesliga, albeit it's 2 finals, which are not in that competition. First up, we'll take on Bayern Munich in the DFB Pokal final, and only a couple of days off the back of that in-game, our first European final, as well as we take on Athletic Bilbao in the Conference League. As I said, probably that's the one we're going to be a bit more confident in, having beaten them 1-0 in our last game before the winter break, albeit it was for an early Benjamin Bouchouari goal, and that game was at home. But that final now is against the team that we know we can beat. They've done us a favour there by absolutely stuffing Roma in that second leg. But 2 finals coming up in tomorrow's episode, and it's pretty high stakes as well, because if we don't win those games, no European football for us here next season. But we'll come back tomorrow and play 2 finals here at Lokomotive Leipzig. So until then, thank you very much for watching, keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.
Thought I could do this, left through the sadness. Don't know how I ended up so lost. Sink through the deep end.